Hello, this is Mr. McMurray, and we're here to talk about how to do the Pivot Labs. This is kind of a new thing for us this year, so we're kind of working our way through it, and I'm kind of learning about it as well as you are. So I didn't know for sure which labs they wanted me to do until about the week before we started. You know how that goes. Okay, so anyhow, so we're kind of learning together, but let's go over some of the main things. Now, if you go to your module page, which is what we're already on here in our online course, if you go down to the second unit, that's our first pivot lab, which since I'm doing this late, some of you have already done. But let me just go over it real quick, and we're going to do some things. Now, if you click on this, I believe since this is embedded in the Canvas, it's supposed to take you directly to the lab. And I don't think you'll have to sign in or log in or anything like that. There may be something where it makes you choose your class, um, but since this is embedded in the class, it's one of those things. I'm not always sure exactly how the student end of it looks because I can only look at it from my point of view. Okay, now if I click on it, it will take me to grading ones that have been turned in because I'm in the teacher version. Okay, so I'm just going to pretend I clicked on that in module and I'm going to the actual um, uh, pivot thing, which I'm going to have to get to through some um, tabs at the top. Okay, but you will get to this and it will take you directly to your lab, uh, assuming everything's working correctly, and you'll be ready to go. So much less stressful than here. Okay, I'm going to go to the preview just because that's how I have to look at it. Can't let me take it as a student. Okay, so when you get there, you should have the instructions, learning objectives, all those kind of things you have to do. Most of these will have a video or a PHET. It's a place in Colorado, University of Colorado, I believe, that does it. But yeah, it's simulation. So either you'll have a video or simulation for most of these. All right. So with a video, here's the video. Ping pong ball cannon. Okay. Basically, a couple things. One, there is an information here. So if you have questions about the video, you can look it up there and it will tell you some things. But probably the biggest thing will be using the tools. Okay, you have a ruler. All right, if you click on the ruler, then it gives you a ruler here. You can move it around wherever you need it. Okay, which is kind of nice. We'll talk about it in a minute. But if it has these little dots on it, then you can even also be tilted. Click on one of those and you can tilt it. Not a big deal for this lab, but for some labs you will need to do that. Okay. This one here is the timer. That's probably the other big one. I believe this one lets you put data points, but to me that's not a big deal. But you could do that if you would like. Now, in this particular one, they're going to shoot a ball camera. So the question is, well, when does the thing start? Well, first of all, I would just play it. And once the ball comes through, oh, okay, now we know we're in that area. Okay, you can use the slider bar. All right, and then to fine tune it, you can use the little clicker here. Okay, well, we don't know where the ball is there. It's somewhere back in the barrel. So we're going to click it until we can see the ball. All right, now I would then move your ruler so that the very tip of it, oops, sorry, I didn't tilt it, sorry. All right. Keep my ruler back straight. Okay. All right. So I would move it, and I would probably move it down here where the bars are, so that maybe that'll make it easier to see. We'll try that. Okay. Now for the well, that way it's starting. This is where we can first see the ping pong ball, so we're going to use that as our starting point. If I'm measuring at the top front end of the ball, every time I need to measure the ball, I should use the front end of the ball. Okay, that's there. Now this here is the time. Okay, and right now it has somewhere between 1 and 200ths of a second. Okay, uh, or 16,554. What is that? 10,000ths of a no, that's 100,000ths of a second. Okay, so if you prefer, but I'm just going to say between 1 and 200ths of a second. All right, and that's it. Now we could leave it that way, but it would be nice since this is where the ball is starting from. This is going to be our starting position. Okay, then we can click here and it will reset our clock to 0. That's kind of nice because now we know exactly how long the ball's been moving. Okay, so now in this one it's kind of tough to say, well, where's our 0 position? Usually we start at 0, 0. That's our first plotting point. Okay, and technically 0 was over here somewhere. We don't know where exactly. So we're going to go ahead and say this is our starting point right here. Okay. Now, each time you hit the little forward button, then it will tell you how much time has passed, 38 10,000ths of a second. Okay. And then you can look, here's 0.5, 0.6, excuse me, this is 10, so there's 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters, 7. And if you want to round that to 0.7, about a third of the way, so I'd say 0.73 or 0.75. If you want to do that, that's fine. Or 7.5, excuse me, 7.5 centimeters or 7.3 centimeters, somewhere in there is where that one is. Okay, now you can either write these times down and go put them in a graph later, or you can go put them in the graph. Now, I think I would write them all down first, okay? But that's obviously up to you how you do that, okay? Now, and then you would have your point for the graph. Now, this one, they just wanted you to do a few things and get some points and just make sure you're figuring out how to use the tool. So we're going to skip down here to the second part, okay? Now we're going to start doing the same kind of thing on this one, all right? And so we get our ruler up there, we get our time there. I'm going to move my ruler down here. All right, I am going to get, all right, get that about right, and we'll scroll it about there. Looks like pretty good. We'll see. Oh, yep. So we do there. Get our 0 line on it right there. Okay, reset our clock. Hopefully it'll let me, I may just need to move the clock up out of the way so I can do that. Okay, move my time ruler back in place, set the timeout to 0. Now I'm ready to go. Okay, so I would say down here we have seconds. Well, we're going to need another for time, but we also need how distance. Okay, so we're going to, oops, sorry, that's just going to make it, we're going to click up here, sorry. And we're going to insert a column to the right. Okay, now we want this one. That's time. The other one is going to be position or distance, but we're with position, and the units it's measured in, you notice, are centimeters. Okay, so we're going to start off as 0, 0 is our first one. Okay, and then our next one would be the one I just did up here. Oops, sorry, let me do it. Let's do 1 frame. Okay, 0.00038. So time is 0.0038 seconds. And the distance we said was it's still going to be the, yeah, about 7.2, 7.3. I'm going to put 7.3. I like that. Okay, 7.3 centimeters. Okay, and then we would do it for the next one. Hit it forward 1 more frame. All right. Well, technically 2,600 frames because that's the frames per second. But yeah, 0.00077, and I just left out a 0 there, so watch out for that. Okay, 0.00038 for that one. And 0.00077 for this one, and the distance did not check. Okay, looks like about 15.1. I'm gonna say 15.1. All right, 15.1, a little bit more than 15. If I type in the right place, okay, and so forth. Okay, and I would continue to do this. Now, we could also insert a row below, so you keep doing that until you get till it hits the can. Okay, I believe is what they said to do. All right, then you want to graph it. Well, the first thing, I'd always start with horizontal axis. Horizontal axis is usually going to be time. It's the one that just is not affected by our experiment. It's not really changing. Time goes on. We don't, nothing we're doing at the experiment is changing time. So that's what we call an independent variable. It's going to go down the bottom one. So we're going to put time in seconds. The X one is going to be our position. So we're going to put position. Don't worry about the uncertainty or the axis title is fine. It's got position in the units, which is good. And then we hit done. All right. All right, now they've changed our time into microseconds, okay? All right. And I only have 2, so I only have these 2 dots here. But if you put in more dots, it's going to fill in the whole graph here, okay? Now, just for the record, there are some things here. You don't really need to do that. Sorry, oops, that's not the right one. You want the settings here, sorry. Okay, you can say a line graph and make a line out of it, or you can just do where it just has the dots like so. Probably a bar graph, I don't think it's going to be very helpful most of the time. And there is this on data table and graph help. So if you have questions, once again, about the graph and table, you can check on that and it will help you with those things. Okay, there we go. Now, should you need another graph, it has a little spot here to add another one, but you shouldn't for this one. Okay, and so you just keep doing that and do it. And once you get your graph, then you can answer the questions that follow below. Okay, and like I said, everyone's going to probably be a little different, so there's going to be a few tweaks for each one. You have to look for the help buttons and work your way through it. By all means, if you have any questions, let me know and I will try to help you with that. And I can either show you how to do it or I can learn how to do it and get back to you. Okay? So yeah, good luck, good labbing, and we'll see you in class.